Well, thank you for joining us this afternoon as far as the NDTV World Report is concerned. And let's start with our first story. And our first story is of Prime Minister of Fiji, Rabuka, who is, who kick-started his 3-day visit to India on Sunday. This is a visit that is aimed at shoring up bilateral ties in areas such as trade and investment. This is the first trip of Rabuka to India in his capacity as the Prime Minister of the South Pacific nation. Let's listen in to what the Prime Minister had to say.
And the next 2 days, my delegation and I have been very impressed beyond expectations with what we have seen, what we have heard, and what has been brought to fruition in the signing of the various agreements today. We are very grateful that you have allowed us to further this relationship that was established in hardship in 1879, the period up to 1916, when, as you said, earlier today, more than 60,000 men and women on an agreement came to work in the sugarcane fields of Fiji. As I mentioned to you, Your Excellency, this morning, they contributed their youth. They contributed the separation, their separation from their families. They have contributed to what Fiji is today. They have developed the economy that Fiji now enjoys. They have developed the community and the society that Fiji is proud of today. And in a very small way, we introduced the celebration of Girmitiya Day in May every year as a token of our respect and recognition of this great contribution.
Now, before the Trump administration's additional 25% tariff penalty on India that is going to come into effect from the 27th, that's the deadline that has been given by the US to India over its purchase of Russian oil. Now, it's US Vice President Vance that has gone on to say that US President Donald Trump applied aggressive economic leverage, including secondary tariffs on India, to force Russia to stop bombing Ukraine. This as India's ambassador to Russia, Vinay Kumar, has gone on to say that Indian companies will continue buying off from wherever they get the best deal. This is in the national interest of India. And Prime Minister Modi has invited Ukrainian President Zelensky to visit India. Ukraine's ambassador to India has confirmed that news, that both sides are working for that to happen. So while both parties are enthusiastic about Zelensky's trip to India, a specific date is still under negotiation. He's also expressed gratitude for India's consistent support amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict, particularly acknowledging, as far as Prime Minister Modi's calls are concerned, for peace and dialogue as the cornerstone of India's diplomatic engagement. Let's listen in to what the Ukrainian ambassador had to say.
About the future strategic partnership between India and Ukraine, and believe me that we have potential for that. The Prime Minister invited President Zelensky to come to India. So now the both sides working on this, and definitely we expected to have the President Zelensky in India, which will be another great interaction and great achievement in our bilateral relationship. I tried to agree the precise date, but the formal invitation already exists, as I told you, since last year.
And let's just also get you more news and staying with news from Ukraine is a Ukrainian drone strike that hit a Russian nuclear plant over the weekend, causing a huge fire. The strike at Russia's Kursk nuclear power plant damaged, and this is a transformer, and reduced the output at one reactor to 50%. No injuries were reported, and radiation levels remain normal. The Russian air defenses also intercepted a drone headed for Moscow, prompting temporary closures at several regional airports. These are airports that were shut, and authorities said that dozens of flights were impacted. They were delayed. Switching tracks now to Canada, and it's the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney that has announced substantial new military assistance for Ukraine during a meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky in Kiev on Sunday, reinforcing bilateral defense cooperation amid ongoing regional tensions. Now, at a joint press conference following the talks focus on security guarantees, energy collaboration and defense support, Carney has gone on to confirm Canada's commitment of 2 billion Canadian dollars, which equals to about 1.45 billion US dollars in military funding previously pledged at June's G7 summit. The aid package includes 835 million Canadian dollars for armored vehicles, drones, medical supplies, ammunition and other critical equipment as well. $680 million to bolster Ukraine's air defense, while US-sourced arms and $220 million set aside for joint Ukrainian-Canadian drone and electronic warfare projects. Now, strong winds and heavy rain has whipped the southern part of China. This is the Hainan Island and also nearby areas as well as of Sunday, as Typhoon Kajiki passed over open waters to the south and headed towards Vietnam's central coast. About 20,000 people were evacuated from potentially hazardous areas ahead of the storm. Now, fishing boats returned to port and more than 21,000 crew members came on shore. Kajiki gained strength as it moved west over the sea with maximum sustained winds of 162 kilometers per hour. That's about 100 miles per hour, according to China's National Meteorological Center. Now, let's get you news as far as Vietnam is concerned, that is now bracing for Typhoon Kajiki on Monday, which had already brought heavy rain and wind hours before it was expected to hit the country's central region. According to Vietnam's National Weather Agency, the typhoon is forecast to make landfall between this particular area. This is a province that is going to take place at about late in the afternoon. It's expected to bring winds up to 166 kilometers per hour, as the same intensity as Typhoon Yagi that devastated Vietnam just last year. Authorities have suspended operations at 2 airports in the region and called for boats to shelters, close beaches, and called on people to stay indoors and not to venture outside. Moving on to news from Israel, and it's the military there in Israel that has bombed the Yemeni capital, Sana'a. This is the Israeli and the Yemeni officials have gone on to claim this and said that there have been tensions as far as the region is concerned, and that continues, in fact, is escalating amid Israel's war on Gaza. The Houthi-affiliated Al Masira TV has gone on to say that the attack that took place on Sunday targeted an oil facility and a power plant in the capital. Now, Israel has said that it also targeted a presidential palace in the Yemeni capital, which it claimed is located on a military complex. Continues from Sri Lanka, and it's the jailed former president that was rushed to intensive care unit at a state hospital over the weekend, a day after being charged with misusing government funds for foreign travel. According to reports, we are talking about Ronald, who has now been remanded in custody as of Friday night, was severely dehydrated and required close monitoring. Now, he has also been taken to Sri Lanka's main state-run hospital as his condition worsened and the prison medical facility was not equipped to treat him at the time. Now, the opposition legislators who visited the 76-year-old in prison earlier in the day have also gone on to report that he has been in good spirits as of now. About 100 people gathered to protest in Washington, D.C. on Sunday night as federal agents were seen searching a house. Protesters banged spoons on pots. They chanted, "Get out of our neighborhood." "Quit your job" is also what was being, shouted by the people protesting in the area. This is after a few hours after the agents left the unit carrying boxes as protesters chanted and booed. The raid and the protest comes amid President Donald Trump's deployment of National Guard troops and others to the national capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. There's been a sharp drop in the number of Indian students heading to Canada for higher education. This report brings you all the details you need to know.
A trusted route for Indian students is suddenly hitting a red light. Canada, once the top pick for higher education abroad, is shutting the door tighter than ever before. New data from Canada's Immigration Department, the IRCC, paints a worrying picture. Study permit approvals for Indians between April to June have plunged over 65% in just a year, from nearly 56,000 approvals last summer down to just under 18,000 this year. And the slide isn't stopping. Canada began tightening student visa approvals in 2024, and it's only worsened this year. The total number of study permits issued to Indians stood at over 99,000 in the first 6 months of 2024. This decline continues in 2025 as the number fell to under 48,000 for the same period. These numbers, as per the IRCC, are early estimates and subject to change, but they reflect a clear shift in how foreign students are accepted amid growing anti-immigrant sentiments in Canada. Canada's international student boom quickly turned into backlash. Soaring numbers after COVID drew heavy criticism, and it became a key issue in the 2025 election. The backlash pushed new policies. Overcrowded housing, strained hospitals, and packed transits were blamed on rising immigration. Now Prime Minister Carney says temporary residents will be capped, making up no more than 5% of the population by 2027. For Indian students, that means fewer chances and more hurdles. The path to Canada isn't closed, but definitely getting harder to walk.
Now, moving on to more news after India announced that it will temporarily suspend all types of postal articles to the United States. Europe has made an announcement as well. Europe has gone on to announce that it will also suspend the shipment of many US-bound packages. The end of an exception on tariff duties for low-value packages coming into the United States is causing multiple international postal services to pause shipping as they await more clarity on the rule. Moving on now, in fact, is the European Central Bank President, Christine Lagarde, on Sunday warned that the undermining central bank this is the independence, that could lead to serious consequences, made the remarks against the backdrop of repeated pressure on the United States Federal Reserve from the United States President Donald Trump. The central bank independence is of vital importance, is what has been said, noting that the independence of policymakers and their institutions should not really be questioned. That is the stress that is being put in this regard. In fact, stressing that once the independence of a central bank is under threat, the institution may become dysfunctional. Let's just also get you the latest when it comes to Shubhanshu Shukla, who has landed back home in Lucknow. Do remember that he met with Prime Minister Modi in the national capital at the residence of Prime Minister Modi on the 18th, after having landed back in India on the 17th of this month. Now, a week since, now he finally makes his way home. He was greeted by his family members on top of that special chariot that was made. He has also been honoured by the students of his school, the school that he studied at, a felicitation taking place at his school, the CMS, and also a felicitation ceremony that is going to take place in the presence of the Chief Minister of the state of Uttar Pradesh. We're talking about Yogi Adityanath there, saying honouring the space hero is very crucial to inspire the generations to come.
Gagan Yatri, or we must call Indian astronaut Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, have arrived back in Lucknow, his hometown. The one very fortunate thing that will happen today is that he will be going back to his school, the CMS school where he studied. And all of these students are from the CMS where Shubhanshu Shukla once used to study. He will also be visiting his school, will be interacting to these students for whom he is an inspiration today. We'll go across to the students who are from CMS and we'll ask how proud of you, of your alumni, of your of Vance, a student now being an Indian astronaut who was abroad the ISS.
I'm very proud. Like he studied in Aliganj campus. Now he is an astronaut, and it is very proud thing for us. Thank you.
Do you see him as your idol? You want to become an astronaut?
Yes, I want to become astronaut when I grow up.
How do you feel one of your students from your school being now India's hero?
I feel very proud of him that he is from our school and now as astronaut, and he inspires me much.
When you first saw him at the airport, what was that feeling?
First, so I was able to see him properly, and then when I saw, I was saying yes, he is the star of CMS.
How proud of you? Your senior is now an Indian astronaut.
It is really a proud moment for not only CMS or Lucknow, it is for the whole world, because an Indian who goes to ISS, it is really a great honor and we feel very much proud of him.
What do you think, will you like to meet him today when he will be visiting it?
Yes, I would like to meet him. I would like to ask him some questions about what space is like and how he felt being there. It is really an honor to be able to speak with him at our school later.
You also want to be an astronaut?
Not really, but I'm very proud of him.
Well, let's get you the latest, and this is in regard to India that has carried out the first firing test of a new integrated air defense weapon system that consists of missiles and high-powered lasers to take down enemy air threats. The multi-layered system is designed to defeat threats ranging from incoming aircrafts and missiles to drones using different weapons that can be engaged simultaneously. And with that, we're slipping into a short break. Back with a whole lot more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Let's get you the latest when it comes to Elon Musk. Now, his SpaceX on Sunday called off the launch of Starship's 10th mission from Texas over an issue at its launch site, delaying an attempt to achieve several long-sought development milestones missed due to past tests ending in early failures. The 232-foot-tall Super Heavy booster and its 171-foot-tall Starship upper half sat stacked on a launch that was mounted at the SpaceX Starbase rocket facilities, and it was being filled with propellant ahead of its liftoff. According to reports, Spotify will raise its prices as it invests in new features and targets 1 billion users. The increase will now be accompanied by a plan. This is the planned new services and features. As far as Spotify is concerned, earlier in August, the Swedish firm had said that it would increase the monthly price of its premium individual subscription in some markets from September as it looks to improve profit margins. It said that the price will rise to 11.99 euros from 10.99 euros in markets including South Asia, the Middle East, Africa, Europe, Latin America, and the Asia Pacific region as well.